What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of News Dose, and this one is an exciting one because one of the best fighting games ever made, if not the best ever, Killer Instinct may be getting a sequel, and it could even be in development as we speak. So we're going to talk all about that, but before we get into all that, don't forget to hit the subscribe and bell notification button if you want to keep up to date with all of the latest gaming news. I try to post 3 to 4 times a week and pride myself on delivering you as much game-related news as I possibly can. So the reboot of Killer Instinct for Xbox One may be getting a sequel for the next generation, Xbox Scarlett. Insider Klobrille, which has a pretty good track record in leaks for Xbox, took to Twitter and had a little tease for the future of Killer Instinct, saying that the Xbox Game Pass release of Killer Instinct might or might not prepare us for things to come. Now, being a huge Killer Instinct fan myself, this is absolutely a huge tease. First off, I think a sequel obviously makes sense. It was rebooted back in 2013 for the launch of the original Xbox One, and it was very successful, even though the Xbox One launch was, well, it was kind of atrocious, to be completely honest. And even though it was not a great launch, Phil Spencer himself has said that Killer Instinct was a success, and of course we got 3 seasons worth of content, and it even survived the original developer for Season 1 Double Helix being acquired by Amazon. Killer Instinct Season 2 and 3 was then developed by Iron Galaxy, which they did a fantastic job. And I think this just kind of goes to show you the success that Phil Spencer is talking about. I mean, they had every opportunity not to continue developing Killer Instinct, but they continued again and again. I also think it's important to note on just how good Killer Instinct is, and how passionate the community for it is as well. While the original release was criticized for a lack of content and just 6 characters, it was universally praised for its gameplay, mechanics, and netcode. And as time went on and more content came out, it started to raise a few eyebrows on how good it actually was. The community is also extremely passionate for it, like I said, and many, including myself, consider Killer Instinct to be one of the best fighting games ever made. And honestly, I think it goes on the list as one of the best Xbox games this generation, alongside Forza Horizon 4 and Ori and the Blind Forest. Now, with all that said, the question is, who would actually develop a sequel to Killer Instinct? And I don't really think we have to overthink this. Microsoft does have an internal KI team, so obviously they would be included. But because Iron Galaxy and the Keats, they did such a good job after Double Helix was acquired, I think they would be the obvious decision. Now, of course, they have to be on board with this, but I followed the development and community for Killer Instinct very closely for years, and the Iron Galaxy KI team was extremely passionate for Killer Instinct, so I think it would be fairly easy to get them back on board for a sequel. They were always very involved with the community tournaments and consistently talked about how they wanted to develop more Killer Instinct, so I really don't think it would be that hard to get them to work on it again. And another thing is they seem to be very passionate about fighting games just in general, and they have a love for Killer Instinct, and they actually worked on a game called Dive Kick before Killer Instinct, and some of the gameplay mechanics in Dive Kick went into Killer Instinct. You actually see some of the characters have a dive kick similar to their previous game. So that not only do they love Killer Instinct, but they love fighting games in general, so I don't think it would be a hard sell getting them on board again. And another thing is, maybe they could even build them a studio to develop Killer Instinct for the long term, rather than just, going out and paying Iron Galaxy a third-party team. They could either acquire Iron Galaxy, or they could actually build them their own studio and just sign them on like they're doing with Age of Empires. And I guess you could say Halo, that's 343 Industries, and then you have Coalition, which is Gears of War. They could do the same thing with Killer Instinct and build them a studio for it and have them work on it for the long term. Well, the next question probably is, when would this release? And I think this could follow a very similar pattern as this generation, where Killer Instinct could possibly be a launch title for Xbox Scarlett. That would mean that you get Halo Infinite and Killer Instinct at launch for Xbox Scarlett, which is a great combination. This isn't to mention the plethora of studios that Xbox has acquired recently that could also release games during the launch, and Rare has 2 teams now, and Playground is working on an RPG, more than likely a Fable game, though that is probably years away. But I mean, honestly, Xbox looks to have a very bright future if they play their cards right. Now that's for a different video entirely, but either way, I'm super excited about this tease, and I dearly hope it's true because it's honestly one of my all-time favorite games ever made. I absolutely love Killer Instinct. I love the community, just everything about that game. I'm gonna hope this one's true, but Clobril is a pretty good insider, and I think he is teasing something here. Now, in other news, sticking with fighting games for a moment, it does not look like Street Fighter 6 is in development. Of course, there has been a lot of rumors that Street Fighter 6 could be announced as early as EVO 2019, especially now that Sony is teasing some news there, and they did partner up to make Street Fighter 5 previously, so that was one logical conclusion as to what they could be announcing at EVO 2019. Well, Street Fighter executive producer claims those rumors are false and says their mind is only on Street Fighter 5 and there is no Street Fighter 6. I know that is a bit unfortunate for Street Fighter fans, but with the amount of success Street Fighter has, I'm sure Street Fighter 6 will happen at some point next generation. Obviously, I'm still curious as just to what Sony has to show at EVO 2019 though. I mean, could it really be PlayStation All-Stars 2? I mean, I know people are kind of joking about it right now, but could that actually be it? If you have any ideas though, let me know in the comments below. There was also a couple of games that got reviewed today, one being Fire Emblem 3 Houses, which it's actually looking like a really great game so far with an 88 on Metacritic. It's being pretty universally praised, and it continues Nintendo Switch's very strong first-party library. I mean, if you honestly look at their release schedule though, Nintendo Switch has a very strong couple of months coming up with Astral Chains, Zelda, Ni no Kuni, and Dragon Quest XI, so more reason to buy the Nintendo Switch Lite if you don't already own the Switch. And of course, you have the holiday games to look forward to as well, like Luigi's Mansion 3 and Pokemon Sword and Moon. Regardless though, Fire Emblem 3 Houses does release tomorrow in time for you to play this weekend. I know I'm going to check it out, and I'm going to probably try to review it as well. There was another high-profile game that was reviewed today, and unfortunately it did not have the same amount of praise. Wolfenstein Youngblood currently has a 77 overall score on Metacritic. A 77 isn't bad though, so don't take that as me saying that that's a terrible score. And reviewers are pointing out a lot of good things about it, and I think if you like Wolfenstein, you should definitely check it out. Now the last thing I want to talk about, and this one is a weird one in my opinion, but Respawn is saying that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is similar to Sekiro. The thing is, I watched them play this demo at E3 several times because it was in numerous conferences, and I never once sat there and said to myself, well, this game looks a lot like Sekiro. I mean, I could draw comparisons to several cinematic games, but Sekiro? No, I really didn't see that. The AI in Jedi Fallen Order, or at least in the demo, I think it looked kind of bad. In my honest opinion, I really didn't think the AI looked good in those games. And in fact, the game looked kind of easy. Of course, that may be because they were playing on easy mode, which that's a pretty common thing for demos on stage, but that's already very different than Sekiro, which is an insanely hard game. But again, I really don't see the comparisons between these two at all, other than both games you can use a sword. Now, with all that said, we haven't seen too much combat yet in this game, so maybe it really does have some similarities with Sekiro, and I just haven't noticed it yet. I don't know. I'm not going to claim that it's not going to be similar to Sekiro when I don't know enough about it yet, but if it is like Sekiro, that wouldn't be a bad thing because, and I've said this before, but From Software has some of the best combat in video games, hands down. So if Respawn took inspiration from that, then that's very exciting news. I'm certainly interested, and I'll be paying attention to this a bit more. Respawn is also a great developer as well, so I'm pretty confident Fallen Order will turn out to be a good game at the very least. Well anyways, that is it for this episode, but let me know what you all think. Do you all think Fallen Order and Sekiro look similar based off of what you've seen so far? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Peace out.